Every single LEGO channel has a freaking Q&A thingy and it's so annoying. Are you gonna make a face reveal for 300K? Hey everybody, welcome back to the Q&A. I decided I probably shouldn't make this series weekly, but of course I have a really fun time sitting here and finally answering all of the questions that you guys have. So of course, patron questions are first up, and we got a few more today. So beginning with Joe Rio, back again as always. Are there ever any minifigures you've broken or damaged after finishing it, showcasing it, or in general over time? I remember Maul's horn chipped and your stealth suit cap's pupil fell off, but that's about it. Dude, yeah, it definitely does happen. Like, my Black Series Mandalorian, this one actually, I had him out of the box, and I had him up on top of a display case, the one that I hold my custom minifigures in last year, and then he tumbled off the edge, crashing into my custom minifigures, right into the middle of them. Ant-Man and the Wasp from 2018 were the first casualties, and one of each of their antennas busted off, and I was very upset for the rest of that night. And so I wound up gluing those back on, and you'd never be able to tell that they broke in the first place. But regardless, it definitely does happen. I remember another one a few years back was actually AV Figures K2SO. That guy's legs busted up a few times here and there. The magnet's kind of breaking off and had to be glued back in place a couple times, but he's fine now and has been in display cases ever since. But it definitely does happen. Emeraldist07 Customs asks, out of all the videos you have made, which one do you think is the best in terms of the video itself, not the figures in the video? Yeah, that's a really great question, and I actually kind of appreciate this one because that definitely goes to my Star Wars The Clone Wars final season showcase. I think out of all the showcases I've ever done, the one that I posted for that in June was, like, just as the video, my best showcase of all time. But if we're talking about like the scale, the ambition, the figures, the excitement, the hype, the culmination of Avengers Infinity War, to me still makes that video my best showcase on the channel. But as far as just the video itself and the editing, how it all came together, the skits, the intros, and all that fun stuff, how the shots are set up, that's definitely my Star Wars The Clone Wars final season showcase. Connor Ronsky asks, who are some of your favorite customizers in the community? Well, that's an easy one for me. My buddy Aaron, LM9Productions, or the Minifigs, McLovin on Instagram, and a bunch of the other Instagram customizers. They all continue to inspire me anytime I catch a glimpse of anything that they're working on. AJ asks, what part of the process has become easier or harder over time, such as certain things you have to paint or sculpt? What has become harder over time? I wouldn't say the painting has necessarily become harder over time. I've just done so much paint work since I began that it just all comes naturally to me, and that's something that I kind of try to rein in on in the tutorials, that eventually it does come naturally to you, and a lot of the small intricacies of painting you kind of cease to think about and you just start doing them without realizing. But definitely the sculpting, I mean, that continues to be the biggest challenge for me. That's still my weakest suit as a minifig customizer, but I'm actively working on that. I did just sculpt the shoulders for the Mandalorian and the Mudhorn signet on his shoulder, and it's gonna be really cool. I can't wait for you guys to see that. I'm sculpting his gauntlets today, actually. But that, and also I have never really dipped into casting myself, and that has definitely kind of prohibited me from recreating certain parts that I would really love to. Like, for instance, if I were able to cast, I would definitely have made some casts of my Ahsoka head tails before painting them, but I also wanted to keep going with that figure and I didn't really want to wait. But yeah, I would say those two things. World of Fortune asks, would you consider remaking the Captain America Winter Soldier figure? Yeah, I mean, I still would love to redo my stealth suit at some point for Captain America. As a matter of fact, that's something I was actually actively going to start working on in 2018 before 2019 things kind of unraveled in my life, and a lot of the MCU 10 years figures did not happen because of that. However, the Winter Soldier, I don't know. I don't really plan on remaking him from 2014. I would, if anything, it would be for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That's going to be the next Bucky figure that you see from me. Adventurous Cup asks, are there any figures that you've wanted to make / have made but don't post on YouTube because you don't think your audience would be interested? This almost never happens. I mean, aside from some makeshift figures like, you know, purist figures where I just throw together some official Lego parts. I mean, but even those I kind of featured in that Sith collection video I did earlier in the year. Just about every custom custom minifigure that I make makes it to the channel in some way or another. That's gonna do it for patron questions. Huge thanks to all of you. If you didn't see your question answered here, definitely check the post where I left you a written response. Heading back down into the comments of the first Q&A, we've got Nia Numbmaster 64. When is the next Endgame showcase? Well, I am working on The Mandalorian for season 2, and he's turning out really great, and I cannot wait for you guys to see the first preview of him once I get him ready for a photo. But once I do him and Baby Yoda and possibly paint my Paz Vizsla armor as well, I don't know about that, I will be getting back to work on Smart Hulk and Thor. I'm actually still waiting for a bunch of parts to come in for Thor from Asia, and it's taking quite a while. But Black Widow just got delayed into 2021, so with pretty much everything being pushed and there no longer really being a need to make WandaVision customs, I've got pretty much the whole rest of the year freed up to do my Endgame project, and I'm really excited about that. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this, sorry. What is your favorite Marvel movie? Avengers Infinity War. Dutastic asks, how do you feel about Rebels, and was it a worthy sequel to the Clone Wars? No. Dylan Hegwar asks, what do you take into consideration when deciding what figures to make? Yeah, I mean, it's really about two things. One, do I want to make the custom minifigures? And then two, do you guys want to see the custom minifigures? And usually I always find the middle ground there in being excited for the things that I love coming from the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the MCU, or, you know, Star Wars, like right now working on the Mandalorian Season 2 customs. So really, the customs that I always make are ones that I think you guys want to see and that I am also really excited to do. But the long list of customs that I would do, from anything from Red Dead Redemption 2, Halo, The Old Republic, just such a long list of custom minifigures that I would love to make, but I know that you guys wouldn't necessarily want to see, and it wouldn't make sense to do it. Rafael Zane asks, how did you get all the curved torsos for most of your female minifigures? Yeah, so I get those from aerialitecustoms.com, or I'll carve them myself like I did for Ahsoka in the Clone Wars Season 7 showcase. Wexbricks asks, what got you into Lego? Well, I think that was definitely my Revenge of the Sith Anakin the Starfighter with Vulture droid set that I got for my birthday in 2005. I'd already been introduced to Lego when I was 3 years old, and it was always loosely kind of a background thing in my life. Of course, as a kid, I always knew about Lego. But yeah, it was really 2005, and then 2 years later in 2007 when a couple friends sparked my interest in the current Revenge of the Sith customs that were coming out in 2006 and 7 that really fully looped me back in, and then I started getting into Lego City, and then eventually YouTube came along, and hello! Hi! Hello, Coco! What's up? Oh, I just lost the email. Did I just delete it or something? Of course I did. Jack Vals asks, can you do a collection video of all your customs? Yeah, I think I mentioned in some video at some point that I will after the Avengers Endgame project. MandRProductions asks, you should make a Discord server. I would certainly join it and beg you until you say yes to be mod. Just kidding. But you should make a Discord server and have a channel where you can post customs and give critiques and stuff. That would be really interesting. Yeah, I tried to do a Discord server in 2018, but it really didn't work out too well, and it wasn't for me. It was just such an incredible amount of maintenance, and it just started soaking up too much time for me and I think everybody involved. As great as Discord is for this, it's just not something I'm interested in doing at the moment, but I'm certainly open to trying again in the future. Gabriel Barraza asks, what do I do when my paint becomes piled in some areas and not smooth? Do I just use the back of a push pin to flatten it out? Also, when I paint a torso, it doesn't match regular unpainted legs. It looks weird. I'm making a custom Tintin and Captain Haddock, by the way. I have no idea who those characters are, but the whole thing about smoothing out paint with the rounded off bottom of a push pin, if you caught the first painting tutorial, it really is a case-by-case basis. If you've lumped up too much paint and it's really thick, there's a good chance that it can't really be salvaged and you might have to tear it off and start again. But otherwise, you can use the push pin as kind of like a mini rolling pin to smooth it over and then go over with a bit more paint. But the rounded off bottom of a push pin for me always works the best in most cases. So yeah, but otherwise, otherwise, as far as paint not really matching Lego's ABS plastic, well, of course it doesn't. I mean, these are water-based acrylic paints. I know most paints that I use on a lot of Lego's accessories really only rarely come close to matching the exact color, meaning you can always tell where the Lego plastic stops and the paint begins. That's why you kind of have to be selective about where you apply paint and where you want to have those parts of the minifigure be. So like for me, you can always tell with the sides of the torso where I usually don't paint, where I have the painted torso and then you can see the Lego plastic, and it's really kind of unavoidable. You can apply sealers in certain areas and on like the corners of torsos, for instance, to kind of create a blend and a seamless transition between the Lego plastic. So like if you have a painted torso and then like, you know, it's all painted, but then the corner of it is sealed over, then that shinier corner, now if you match the color correctly, will actually blend with the rest, and you can kind of create a seamless look, but generally you're not ever going to make paint look like Lego plastic. Brick Fury asks, is the custom painting that you do textured like a UV printed element? Yeah, I mean, it is, yeah, paint is definitely highly textured. I mean, you know, like a flat painted torso, you don't really feel the texture as much, but yeah, I would argue that aside from raised printing, like Fig Factory does, for instance, hand-painted custom minifigures are more textured than any form of printing. And finally, Eli, I remember when he was Michael MGF. Yeah, I was Michael MGF for, you know, a solid 11 years or so there. But on YouTube now, it's less about the usernames and more about the production names. So MGF Customs it was. Regardless, thank you guys so much for submitting your questions. And of course, thank you to all my patrons for all of your support. It really does mean a lot. And yeah, so I will catch you guys for the next Q&A. Not sure when it's going to be. I don't really want to commit to this being a weekly thing because I don't want to kind of bombard you with constant Q&As if there aren't enough videos throughout the week in between them. So that's why I decided to space these out just a little bit. So yeah, but otherwise guys, I'm gonna get back to work on my custom Mandalorian Season 2 figures. If you want to catch my current progress, like the shoulders that I just painted with the Mudhorn Signet and all that stuff, you can see that of course over on the Patreon page first. And really soon I'll be posting yet another new long form video going a bit more in depth on the process of a certain piece that I've been working on. I'm thinking next I might do my most detailed piece ever, the Black Panther helmet, my tribute helmet for Chadwick Boseman. Otherwise though, you can catch me over on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook posting all my Photoshop edits and all my digital design work that I really have a lot of fun doing over there, and also on TikTok posting montages as so long as TikTok exists. And yeah guys, so I will see you next time. All right everybody, stay safe, take care, and keep creating.